Everyone, I started this and had to go through and delete. So if you saw something that went blank, the hydro went out, the computer crashed. So I finally just gave up and waited. But it was interesting because the topic I had in mind today came from my daily Om, which really impressed me, called Beginner's Mind. I don't think that's what they called it, but in there, one of the excerpts, which I've jotted into the article accompanying here, is that in the Zen tradition, this willingness to question is known as the beginner's mind. I like that. I'm not that young. This compassionate queen of straight talk has gotten here over many decades. You'll know what I mean if you've got a few decades under your belt. We didn't just come to this personal wisdom of who we are or who we want to be and how we're going to change that and so on. That always being curious, that always thinking, that always creating, looking around, saying, I know there's more. I know, I'm so happy with how far I've come. It's so exciting. Oh, but I know there's more. And I've been blessed with that curious, creative mind, I think forever. Even though as a young child, I was the baby of the family, I was the people pleaser. I know my sister's going to say, get a grip, but I really did have eggshells. I was walking on eggshells a lot of time, holding myself tense, trying to make sure I was doing what I was supposed to do. And as the baby of the family, that was to try and keep up with everybody. And I was hugely sensitive to being teased, which kids do. But in spite of it all, I loved being on stage and all the applause. I loved it, even though I was scared. Nobody would see behind the mask. I learned so many ways to hide myself and still burst. It's interesting. I didn't do that as the only one. You did that too. But the thing to ask is, what did I do? Do I want to continue that? And it was okay. As a child, that's what I knew to protect myself, to cope, to be able to move forward. And it's okay for you too. Just understanding we're okay. We've got it all. We've got it all. So let me just read here for a moment about the beginner's mind. Now, like I say, it's just a little excerpt. In the Zen tradition, this willingness to question is known as beginner's mind. I love that. And it has a way of generating possibilities we couldn't have seen from the point of view of knowing something with certainty. See, if we know something absolutely certain, this is the way it is, my way, highway, all that stuff, then we cannot peel our mind open to look at another perception, another viewpoint, to expand. And sometimes it's scary because as we expand and look at, we realize the smallness of our thinking, that we weren't willing to open it and crack it open. Really. So the willingness to question everything doesn't necessarily mean we won't believe in anything at all. No, we'll still have our belief. And it doesn't mean we have to question every single thing in the world every minute of the day. I mean, there's many minutes and many days. So I started questioning what I could handle at any one point. And I'm sure, absolutely sure, there's a ton of stuff I haven't even begun to peel away because I'm not even aware that it's a bother for me yet, you see. So it doesn't mean we have to question every single thing every minute of the day. It just means that we're humble enough to acknowledge how little we actually know about the mysterious universe we call home. There is so much. And we think we know it all. We don't know much of anything. But as we peel and scratch and carry on, it's a beautiful, beautiful life when we can actually choose to have an open mind and look at it. Doesn't matter how wrong somebody appears to be. If everything they say is wrong, Let's approach it and look. As Shazad would say, there's 10% of truth in everything somewhere. Let's find that 10% to work on and expand from there. It's an interesting concept. It's part of the work I do with the mental fitness, the positive intelligence work, which is amazing. It lets me dig down into what I've always been doing anyhow and has opened up more of my thinking. I'm inviting you to just read that article one more time. In fact, I'm going to read it to you one more time and then invite you to be brave enough, be humble enough to say, it's okay, I'll see what's on the other side of that thought. In the Zen tradition, this willingness to question is known as beginner's mind. I love beginner's mind, and it has a way of generating possibilities we couldn't have seen from the point of view of knowing something with certainty. So that's when we know it. No. Somebody, a fundamentalist, said, God said it, I believe it, that does it. Well, I was never very good at being a fundamentalist. I always had to question everything. And that's all it means, is if you've got that wall up that says there's no room for discussion here, where do we go with that? And we don't have to give up all of our beliefs. Certainly can't give them up all at once. And we wouldn't want to. There's going to be certain beliefs that are just beliefs, and it gives us our strength. So it doesn't mean we have to question every moment of every day, but it just means that we are humble enough to take a look and acknowledge how little we know. Isn't that beautiful? To acknowledge how little we actually know about the mysterious universe that we call home. Listen in to your own thinking, and then consider, as I ask every week, every video, consider how great it would be to understand that every day is your personal lesson. It's Coach Sandra, Compassionate Queen of Straight Talk. Happy to be here again with you. And hopefully you can give me a call, a DM, get in touch. We can move it through. We can start releasing so much of that stuff in our head and move it over to the brilliance of our mind, of our being in this universe. You can do it, and you know it. I can help. Take care.